It gives me enormous pleasure to introduce you, Ed Lewis, founder and CEO of Industrial Info Resources. You are known as something of a pioneer and an innovator of the information and market intelligence industry, and some would even say you are something of a disruptor too. You've obviously guided Industrial Info from a very small 5-man startup to be known today by our customers, really as a partner of choice, setting the standard in market intelligence, and certainly a standard that all others seek to emulate. Now, over the last 42 years, Industrial Info Resources has grown into a global brand that provides market intelligence, data, analytics and insights on multiple energy and heavy industrial markets, covering, thousands of commodities and products and hundreds of individual sectors. So I'm delighted to be joined by you, Ed. Welcome.
Thanks, Shaheen.
Let's go back to the very early days. You founded the company in the early 1980s, shortly after what was a double-dip recession, and certainly, I think, one of the worst economic downturns in the US, and I guess hardly the most perfect conditions to consider building a new company, right? So what motivated you to start a business right from scratch?
Like a lot of people back in that era, I was caught with no job. The market was very depressed. I was associated with the construction industry, and the unemployment in that sector was 24% at the height, and I couldn't find a job, so I was faced with trying to find a way to put food on the table for my family.
You came from a business information and a technology background. Why in particular did you decide to focus on the energy and the industrial markets in particular?
Well, I was associated with the construction industry. I sold construction management solutions as well as project management solutions. As I was thinking about jumping in to start a lead service for projects, I decided to visit with some of my old clients, and I asked them what were their pain points in pursuing business. And they said, well, right now we use EPA permits, and the information is not very accurate. It's compliance data, and sometimes they fill out the forms wrong. It's just not very, very good information and good intelligence. If you could come up with a service that provide value and give us qualified leads that would help us spend less time finding and more time selling, that would be phenomenal. And that's what sort of got me inspired to start the service with primary research approach.
When you started out, and I guess through the subsequent years, was there any one individual who has kind of inspired you most as you embarked on your journey?
Yes, there was. Back in 1989, I started going to the Tremont Hotel in Galveston to do annual meetings with the sales staff. And through that process, I met George Mitchell. At that time, I thought he was a proprietor of the Tremont. Turned out he was the father of fracking. He did it on weekends because he enjoyed interacting with people. An incredible guy. And, he started sitting in my meetings and realized that I wasn't dreaming very big and saying, you're just not dreaming big enough. You need to dream it bigger. The bigger you dream, the better the results will be. Then he said, then you have to turn the dream into reality. And that's where the rubber hits the road. So what's your plan in doing that? So I've learned how to do that, to start dreaming, visualizing, and then implementing the plan as quick as I'm thinking about it. So it's quick to action. So that has sort of served me well throughout my career. And I inspire other people to do that. And I have a whole staff of people now that think that way. And we've set up a pretty good environment to think outside the box and create new things as we continue to evolve. And innovation and breakouts have been the key to our success.
From your perspective, what are the key ingredients in having successful innovation?
Well, successful innovation comes from innovating things that have value. A lot of people innovate things that don't have value, and they waste time and energy for nothing because usually they end up failing with those innovations. Our innovations come from our clients. Our clients give us feedback. They tell us what they want. We go out and innovate ways to get what they want and provide the kind of information that they need to get their business done. Best in class is having the best product. It's also having a product that's affordable at the best price. So we strive every day to make our products better and to help our clients succeed And because of that, we enjoy about 95% retention rate.
I can only imagine that there was a lot of trial and error in those early days, but having worked with you now for 15 years, there is one thing that I know that you've always kept very central to the business, and I guess that's been part of the DNA ever since we've been growing, was this relentless focus on being best in class, right? What does best in class mean to you?
Well, best in class starts out, in my mind, as an attitude. You know, and that's everything you do in life. Always strive to be the best. Always strive to do the best. And if you do that, you're always constantly breaking out and inventing ways to do things better. And that's sort of been the spirit of IAR from the very beginning. Our culture is sort of based on that premise. We have created a culture and incubated a culture that basically provides people with an environment to innovate. Innovation has been a key reason why we've been successful. Every year we break out and innovate to do it the best we can and to strive to be the leader in the marketplace, and we continue to do that today.
Ed, you have a reputation among our customer base for having excellence in customer service. What gave you the idea to personalize your customer service in the information industry at that time? It was something that probably wasn't very prevalent across the industry. And how have you seen that affect your customer retention?
Well, when I started that in 2004, I got the concept from coming in from a data processing environment where customer service was crucial to supporting the client. And at that time, my retention rate was suffering. And I thought that if I brought in customer service, I could get more connection with the client and help them personally get more value out of the use of the data and the tools that we provided. So it was a two-pronged approach: more support on the research and more support on the tools that we provided to the clients. And it had a huge impact on the business. It got us to a point where we're doing 80 to 95% retention.
And that customer service is also driven by the fact that it's global and it's speaking local language, correct?
Exactly. And the sun never sets at IAR 24/7.
Right.
We have people on the phone helping clients every hour of the day.
Ed, I would like to explore a little bit more around the differentiators, certainly around our research methodology, and just share with us why that research methodology is so unique and how is it distinct from others?
Well, it starts from the beginning of the company. When I entered into the market, capital spending was at all-time low in the Gulf Coast. The thing that I learned from already being in the business indirectly with the construction management software business is that people worked on lots of projects that were in plant as opposed to capital and grassroots projects that got a lot of exposure in the news. So the hard-to-find projects was what I wanted to specialize in because that was the information that was the hardest to get. And a lot of our clients could get all that by scraping services and clipping services back in those days of the publicized projects. But they wanted to get the projects that weren't so publicized, and that was the hard to find. So our methodology was really focused around the in-plant capital and maintenance spending from the very get-go.
Several years ago, you took the big leap of faith and expanded into multiple geographies. Why is it important for our customers that IIR has a global footprint?
Well, at the time, the project spending was moving offshore into the international markets, and our clients wanted us to expand our service to provide them information they need outside the U.S. to be successful. So we took the leap of faith and did it. And it took us 3 years to put offices on 5 continents, hire over 400 people. We speak 59 languages today to provide a presence, a local presence with a global footprint around the world.
And I guess those local languages, what did you say, 59? 59 different languages. I guess that's really important as well because it ensures that the data and the information that we gather is being gathered in real language, local language. So I guess that helps improve the accuracy of the information and the insights that we're gathering. Would that be right?
Yes, but besides that is the comfort level. Being able to communicate with someone on the phone where they feel like you're a local person that they can talk to and not somebody from the outside trying to get intelligence about what they're working on.
Right. you've obviously helped navigate IIR through multiple economic and technological cycles. Would it be right to say that we are now in the midst of one of the biggest technical transformation of our era, certainly the biggest since the advent of the internet? How have we at IIR responded and adapted to some of these changes?
We've always been sort of the mind to provide our customers with the type of information they need to be successful. It started with data dissemination and data creation back in the 80s and 90s. And we're moving into a whole new era of the knowledge age, which basically is emphasis on disseminating knowledge, not data. So that transition has really played in our favor because we already had an approach to develop data that was important to our clients. And now we're working on disseminating that knowledge that's transposed from organizing the data into something that's meaningful to the clients.
And I guess this transformation that we're talking about is really, artificial intelligence. It's large language models, it's tools like ChatGPT, which are now becoming, increasingly more available for everyone. It certainly allows people to pull information together much quicker. Do you see these AI applications that are now readily available, do you see them as a disruptor or an enabler to your business?
I think it's both. The thing about the LLM marketplace is everybody is striving to use LLM in their business. The problem with LLMs are if you're not using trusted data to power the LLMs, then the accuracy of the answers that you get from the use of the LLM might be questionable. So we have figured out how to leverage the LLM technology and our trusted data that we provide and work jointly by pointing the LLM to the trusted database that we've provided over the years. And the answers come from information that's been validated. So the accuracy should be much more higher than using the World Wide Web.
Right. So what I'm hearing is that the trusted data is really the key differentiator that you see setting IIR apart from others, certainly as everybody else is looking to adapt the generative AI kind of technologies coming into the market. Could you explain a little bit more about what you mean by trusted data, and what does it take to achieve that?
There's all types of interpretations of what trusted data is. I mean, if you think about social governance, some people think that it has to be prim and proper, and if you don't get the permission to use their contacts, that you can't use it. Our job is to provide the market intelligence it takes to drive their business. So we're going to provide the data that's important to them and getting their jobs done. And that's finding opportunities that helps grow their business. And without, good market intelligence, and the validation process that we go through to make that happen, trusted data is very hard to provide.
And I guess our product strategy, so to speak, is really about creating a single environment, right? Where our end users can do what we call the strategic and bring the actionable together all in one environment. I mean, that's the goal ultimately for you, Ed, right?
Actually, you're absolutely right, Shaheen. It started out as a very specific focus on project spending. But as we started to evolve and develop as a company, the lines started to blur between analytics and project pursuit. And when you have those side by side, and when you're on the fly, you can analyze and understand the targets and then go to the 1-foot view to hit that target at the same time on the same screen. It's pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah, impressive, yes, agree.
I mean, everybody's going to have LLM technology in their companies. That's a given. And what's going to separate the people that win with the AI is using trusted data that powers the LLM. If you think about it, knowledge to the AI application is like gasoline to an engine. Without knowledge, then the AI has no relevance. And so the way we're going to continue to use AI is to help our clients receive the knowledge they need to get their business done easily without much effort. And that's where we're putting a lot of our emphasis today.
Mm. Large language models may be a term that's a little unfamiliar to some folks. Maybe, Ed, you could share how we're using large language models?
Well, large language models work real well with the World Wide Web, and it was defaulted with the World Wide Web when it made its entree into the marketplace. But in reality, for people that have specialized information, you'll have to train the LLM on your specialized information in order to get the right type of response with the accuracy that you're looking for. Without specialized information, it's going to be very difficult to get any traction with the use of the LLM in our business.
And I guess, Ed, this perfect combination of using a specialized large language model pointed towards trusted data yields trusted insights and trusted opinion, right?
Right, and I think that's sort of what's happening in our business is that there's more emphasis on the trusted data because without the trusted data, the accuracy of the answer is questionable. So you have to spend your time in revalidating and reconfirming it to really make it worthwhile.
And that revalidating and reconfirming is a cycle. I mean, we're known for having truly dynamic data, and dynamic data meaning it's constantly changing on a daily basis, and that change is also driven by our global research methodology, right?
Right. Everything that enters into our database takes its own life. And as we go forward, looking at milestones and times that we need to check the data because it changes from one phase to the other on a project, we have to constantly go in and reconfirm and make sure that the project's on pace to start when it's supposed to, that the money hasn't changed or the design hasn't changed, and all the details that go into tracking projects and other things that happen within plant environments. It's very dynamic in nature. It's constantly ebbing and flowing.
So you've created and we've created a very exciting place then, global footprint, best-in-class data, must be a great place for our researchers to work. Would you confer with that?
Well, it's really interesting. When we first started the business, we started with some serious process engineering types that worked in plant environments, and they were the beginning. But then we brought in a lot of new people and young people to learn under their mentoring. And we have forged a pretty good process of platooning young people to come into an environment and learn a profession that you can't learn in college. To be a knowledge worker, it takes a lot of understanding about the market that you're doing business in. And it takes a long time to learn the business that we do because there's a lot of industries that we cover and a lot of information that has to be, let's say, mastered. So our approach is really creating an environment that attracts people and keeps them here for a long time. It's the long tenure that's made my company so successful. People have been here for 10, 20, 30 years.
We've talked a lot about where you have come from, where we are now today, but could you just share a little about where you see IIR going, where is it heading, and more particularly, what technologies do you see as playing a role in your strategy and vision going forward?
Well, obviously, AI is in our future in a big way, but you can't dismiss the other technologies that go into allowing the clients and giving clients the ability to access data. Geospatial technology is very important in our company. People like to have a visual to where opportunities lie, market sizing, being able to understand the targets to hit, maybe a key account that they want to track and they want to understand where all the assets are from one continent to the next. So these other technologies help us in filling in the blanks that gives them access in a way that helps them get a more meaningful interpretation of what's going on in the marketplace. So it's really a combination of multiple technologies. You can't be dependent on just one technology to be successful. You have to use all the technologies that help you get the job done.
With that, I would like to say a very big thank you, Ed, for taking time out to speak to us about your journey and for sharing your perspectives and your thoughts on what you see as the next chapter as we move forward into this new knowledge era. Thank you, Ed.
Thanks, Shaheen. Well, I would just say this. I mean, the technology is moving fast. Entering into the knowledge age, we really don't know where it's going to end up. But we know that it's full of opportunities for everybody that pursues it in such a way where they leverage the technology that benefits their company. For us, it's about allowing people to obtain knowledge easily without any effort. So we're trying to make our tools better and more useful so people can have knowledge at their fingertips. And that will allow them to spend more time understanding how to use the knowledge and how to get benefits from it.